don't know who are going through or have been through some crazy stuff. And of course, when they get to the end or even in the process, they found joy. And today I'm going to be talking to a dear friend of mine, and I mean, just an extraordinary businesswoman. Okay, don't play. All right. And she is just absolutely amazing, but she has a powerful story as well. And I can't wait to share it with you. Well, at least let her share it with you. Anyway, without further ado, come on, y'all. Give it up for my girl, Lovie Grant. How are you, sweetheart?
I am great. How are you, Crystal?
Oh, so good, because I finally get to talk to you. Oh, yay.
Oh, thank you for having me on your show. I've been looking forward to this.
Awesome. I am so glad. You know what? A lot of times, when I look at you, especially over the years, I'm just like, she's so smooth. Things are so grand. How you handle things, it's just like, well, even when I had fits, and you've seen me when I had my own fits, you were still cool. You were like, okay, are you better now? All right, let's talk about this, especially when it came to my taxes and stuff. But how do you do it? I mean, has everything been perfect for you? What have you been through to keep you like that? Talk to me.
Well, no, everything has not been perfect, and my outside is calm, but that inside can be a raging storm inside.
Get out of here.
And yes, it is. And there are times that I actually have to go off by myself and just scream or cry or, just beat the pillow for a while because there's so much built up inside. But when I come out, I don't know, I've always been taught that I had to have a certain appearance. And so people tell me like, you don't show emotions on your face. And I guess I really don't, but I have to tell people at times, I don't need to talk right now. I need to go and be by myself, and I even tell my friends, there are times I will say, hey, I need to be away for a few days or a couple of hours. Give me a few hours, let me regroup, and then I'll come back with a smile on my face. And, and just saying that with a smile on my face, when I was in my 20s, about 25, my dad said to me one day, he's like, why do you always wear a frown? And I didn't know I was frowning. And one day...
Never seen that on you.
Never said, not now you won't. But then I walked past the mirror one day and I looked at myself and I was frowning. And to me, back then, life was rough. I was trying to be a mother. I was trying to go to school. I was trying to work a job, and when you internalize all of that, sometimes it just explodes, So I was sad inside. I didn't have that joy inside. And when my dad said that to me, it made me realize that this is what you're showing people who you are. You're a sad human being.
Oh.
And that day I decided I'm going to change this. I'm going
That's the blessing, because the first thing is making that decision.
Yes. And then the second thing is being intentional about it. So I literally had to train that frown, because my mom used to walk and she used to hold her mouth down like that. And I think I picked it up because that was something mom did. And I didn't know it looked like a frown.
Wow.
Well, now when I'm just sitting doing nothing, that's how I hold my mouth. And I had to change that. I had to literally walk past a mirror. I had told myself, every time you go to the bathroom, you go look in the mirror at your face. And if there's a frown, turn it upside down.
How long have we heard that one? But it's so true, so true.
It did. And I had to really work at that. and measure what I was doing to see if it was working. And it took me a couple of years, to get to where now people were saying, well, I was married, and my former husband used to say stuff when we would be arguing and, raising our voice at each other. And he would look at me and he'd go, "What you laughing at?" And I would go, "I'm not laughing. We're in an argument. I'm not laughing." It's like, "Well, you got a smirk on your face." And I would go, "It's working." I had turned that frown.
He didn't know how to handle it.
He didn't, because when we was arguing, he expected me to be sad or crying, and he would look at me and he would say, "What are you over there smirking about? What are you grinning for?" And my heart was sad because we was arguing. I would be ready to say, "You see me smiling?" And then it dawned on me, this is what you intentionally wanted to happen. You wanted to wear a smile. And I have done that ever since. And now people look at me and they say, "You're always smiling." Even when I'm not happy inside, I still have a smile on my face. So that's something I did intentionally, because I had to come out of that rut where I was sad. Yeah. And so I intentionally grew in that area, which leads me to kind of what I wanted to talk about with you today is being intentionally in your growth. You have to decide that you want to grow in an area. And a lot of us decide, we take that first step, but you got to have something to measure it to know if you're moving. If you're doing something that's staying in the same spot, you're not moving, you're not growing.
That's true. You know what I think is also interesting is that when I look at you and I see the accomplishments you made, because you've been in business for a while now.
Yes.
And I'm like, has Lovie always just had money? Always been on point with things? I mean, did you have funds at one time, and were you financially stable at one time with plans of your future? And what happened with that? Was that sustained even up to now, or were there some changes in your life?
Me and my husband had decided that at age 45, we was going to retire early, travel and enjoy life. And so after my kids got up to the age where they could go to school, I started working, and I got blessed to get hired at an engineering company that paid me 401k, profit sharing, insurance, and I could buy stock in the company. So I was like, yes, I'm going to take advantage of all of this.
Absolutely.
And I did. So at 35, we were well on our way to seeing that we could retire at 45.
Wow.
We were doing good. I had a friend of mine, a church member of mine, come to me one day, and she's like, "Lovie, can you loan us money for a down payment on the house?" And I go, "Who asked that? Do I look like I got that kind of money?"
Does it look like it's okay to ask for something like that?
Yes. And I'm like, well, no, I don't. I didn't have it like that, but I was planning for it. So I talked that talk. The kids would say, "Mama, everybody getting the computer, the new Atari games when they first came out."
I remember those.
Showing my age, so. And my kids
that wasn't that long ago, let's be real.
But my kids would ask, "Why can't we get an Atari game? Everybody in the neighborhood got one." And I was like, "Because your money is going somewhere else." And it was going into profit sharing.
I love it.
So I learned the talk. And as you talk it, whatever comes out of your mouth, you're hearing it. You're hearing yourself say it. And I was able to put money away for retirement because we had that goal. And we were measuring it. I every morning when I went into work, there was 4 of us at work. We would pull up our 401k and we would compare. Mine went up 10%. How much did yours go up? And this one went up. And so it became a game to us. So it was fun.
Yeah.
And things were going so great. And then tragedy hits. Okay. So the tragedy in my life is my former spouse, got into selling drugs and stuff. And he started pulling money out of the account, thinking he was gonna reinvest it and then put it back and I not know it, but he started drilling from it, and it started getting less and less and less. Like, stop doing that, stop it, we're not gonna meet our goal. And he didn't. And so the marriage went downhill, and so did all of the savings, disappeared, the 401k. I ended up leaving the company, and they sued me and told me they wasn't going to pay me my stock. Well, at that time, I was shy and quiet, and I'm not going into a courthouse trying to fight you on this. Take it. So I ended up starting all over again. So at that time, I decided that I was going to move. And I moved here to Nashville, and I got a job. I worked for a year. They got sold and moved out of town. I had to find another job. They hired me on. I worked for a year. They got sold and moved out of town. Got hired again, and the same thing happened. So then I went to, Lord, we need to talk. Are you trying to tell me something?
What's up here? Where you at?
Yes. I think I missed it these 3 times, but I'm listening now. Tell me what it is you want me to do. And I had always wanted to start my own business, but I was waiting for my ex-husband to get his up and going. And then I would start mine. But at this point, I couldn't even keep a job longer than a year. So he said, start your own business.
And I think that's where it came in. To tell me if I'm wrong, when you approached me and said, do you mind if I do your taxes? I've started a business. And I'm like, Shazam, yeah, because I hate doing them with a passion. It's like, those numbers. And when you came to me, I was stunned, and I have to admit, it stirred up something in me that I said, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Always. There was never a time I wanted to work for people. I wanted to have that kind of freedom. Yeah. So when you approached me about it, it was a huge blessing, and a little bit of envy, and a huge blessing, because I said, I want to see how far this goes. And without telling both of our ages, that was some years ago, okay?
Yeah.
So at that point, when you were starting your business, was it like a piece of cake? All you did is fill out some forms and say, hey, and the customers come flying in?
Oh, I wish it was that easy. But it never is, because we wasn't taught to plan for our business. We just feel like, I got an idea, I'm gonna jump in this and do it. So I didn't have a job, and I had just left my husband, so I had rented this apartment. I had to have some money come in. My kids moved in with me, so I sat down with them and I was like, I'm gonna start this business. Can y'all pitch in while I work this? And they had to cover the bills for, I don't know, a couple of years actually, because it took me a while to get on my feet to where I can say, I can help out now. But I had to network, and you took me to my first networking because I was shy and quiet,
Totally forgot about that. Totally forgot about that.
Yes, you took me to my first networking meeting, and I remember following behind you, like, don't walk too fast. I need to be in your shadow, because I was shy and introverted then. and in a room with all these people, you know, I just felt overwhelmed. And I don't know if you could see that on my face, but I was scared to death and I couldn't wait till it was over with. But I had set a goal that when you go and hit a network, you got to talk to 3 people before you can leave.
And you know what else? You had already set up the smile.
The smile.
Because I was like, okay, this is up her alley because she has not stopped smiling. I'm like, she can handle this. So no biggie, she's fine.
And you'd be surprised.
And I didn't know you were having a hard time.
People will approach you if you just smile.
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
So it wasn't as bad as I had envisioned it being, because leave me alone. I'm in my little corner. I'm safe over here. But if you step into my corner, now I got to think of something to say and I got to keep a conversation going. And that scared the crap out of me. But I went, and I think you took me for at least a couple of months. I went with you. And then I felt like I had a handle on it. So I had to start networking other places. And that's how I got my business started, mainly by just word of mouth, going out, talking to people, telling them what I did and how I could help them. And that's where I started, you know. So it's very important that we intentionally grow in every area of our life. We have to look at that and decide, I want to grow here. And then figure out, how can I measure this? You got to be able to measure it, because even though I've been in business for this long, I am not at a point where I want to be. So every year I sit down and I do a growth chart. What do I want to happen this year? And how will I know when I get there? And so I back into them little bitty steps. You know, I'll tell you, one of my biggest fears, I never wanted to have employees, because I don't want to deal with people, you know, one-on-one. Never wanted to have employees. So this year on my growth chart is to have an employee. You're going to grow enough to hire an employee. You're going to train them, and you're going to offload some of this work onto them. So for this year, October the 1st, I've hired someone. So this is what a growth chart will do for you, because it's always on your mind.
Wow. And
I have it up on my dream board. So every time I'm sitting here and look up, there's my growth chart. How close am I to the end? By December, I want to be able to say, you know, even if I don't get them all done, I can point where I'm at. And then next year I'll start from this point and then do my growth goals.
You know what's really wonderful, Lovie, is that you've made some valid points about some things that's just concrete. It's just part of it. Whether you're building a business or building a relationship. Number one, you made a decision. Mm-hmm. You recognize, well, somebody brought to your recognition, your daddy did.
Yeah.
Your father did, that you're not smiling. It's like, I didn't even think about smiling.
Yeah.
And you made a decision. And then the second thing is, you started recognizing that there were some things that you needed to put in place to grow. Yes. That growing doesn't just happen and boom, I'm here, I'm wealthy. No, yes. You made a decision to recognize the things that you needed to grow. And then from there, you also said something, you said it now, that I think is powerful, is the fact that on your wall, where you're going to be working on a consistent basis, you have a vision board.
Yes.
You have something there that is a subliminal reminder that this is where I want to be. And another thing that I thought was a huge blessing is that, and I know that was major, you only said it in a couple of sentences, what you dealt with your former spouse and the challenges that you went through with him. You only said it in a few sentences, but it didn't change overnight, did it?
No, it did not. No. Actually, from the span of when I left my job and they were suing me to not pay me my profit sharing in the company up until I moved here was a span of about 10 years.
Oh, I didn't think you were going to say 10. I thought maybe you'd say maybe 2, possibly 3. 10 years?
Yes. And in that span, I'm trying to recoup to how do I get back on track? You know, so you get another job and you start making money, but now you got to get caught up or try to get money back in. So you got to start off again back at the bottom. I had to start growing an emergency fund, you know, so all my extra money I threw into that emergency fund. And once I got that emergency fund up, then I started me a savings fund so that I can have money that I didn't have to touch. I could start investing it somewhere. So you can't invest until you got the necessities out of the way, or else you're going to end up using the investment money. So you need to have over and above what it takes for you to live out of before you start investing. And another point I wanted to bring out is, as we grow up and people that looks like me don't get a lot of money training or investing, how to invest. So a lot of times when we go to our jobs, we work W-2 jobs, we don't even know the stuff that's available to us that will help us get to that point even easier, you know. So going to our jobs, they hand you this stack of paper and say, fill it out, and then turn it back in. And you sign up for insurance and you sign up for an FHA account, and they're going to take this money out of your check. Maybe I won't do FHA because they're going to take money out of my check and I need that. So I ain't going to do that one, you know. But without setting up planning, you don't know where to go. And most of the time your job is not going to help you. You know, even in that insurance plan, there's if you got a high deductible plan, there is also a HSA, which is almost identical to a FSA, but a FSA belongs to your company. You put the money in, if you don't use it, company gets to keep it. But the HSA, you put the money in, if you don't use it, it keeps growing. And when you leave the company, you take it with you. I never knew that. I never knew there were things set up like that. You know, a lot of my clients I hear leave a job and have a 401k. You know, did you take it with you? No, the company's still holding your 401k. Girl, go get that. You know, but we haven't been taught these things, so we don't know it. And most of the time, like I say, we don't plan, so we know we got $1,000 sitting in 401k. When I leave that job, I'm using that money. I need it, you know. So here we're investing again, and we don't have an emergency fund in place. So something come up, any little money from your investment, you're going to use it.
If you don't have a savings account.
Exactly. Exactly.
And the penalties people don't think about.
Yes. So for my clients, when they come to me, the first thing I say to them is, let's get you set up with an emergency fund. And it don't, you know, when I was coming up, they said you had to have 6 months set aside, you know. That's a lot of money. Especially if I don't have any left over. Right. That's a lot of money to put away. I can't do an emergency fund with 6 months of my salary. But just start with, you know, get $1,000 set aside. That'll get your car fixed, you know, if it break down, or you gotta do an Uber to work to get another check. Get $1,000 in there. And then once you get $1,000, let that set and forget about it and start on another $1,000. Get you at least $2,000 to $3,000 sitting in an emergency account. And once that's there, then start working on a savings account. And you don't have to dump $10,000 in there like now, just do a little bit. My daughter, when she moved away, she went to Chicago, and she kept saying, Mama, I can't save, Mama, I can't save. And I told her, I said, every paycheck, I want you to take $10 and put it in the account and don't touch it. You know, she came to me almost a year later. She's like, Mom, $1,000 in my account. Yeah, it feels good.
It does.
When you've got that backup, that you're not stressed trying to figure out how I'm gonna pay my bills, and I can't get some of the things that I think I need, you know, because you ain't got no savings set up. So first thing is to get that emergency fund set up. And once that's done, here's your goal. The next step is to get your savings account set up. Once that savings account is set up, then decide, what do you want to do from there? Some people want to buy a home. You know, some people need a new car. You decide on what you want next, and that's going to be your next step. How are you going to invest money to be able to afford that? And even though I say your next step is a home or a car, I would say that's not good debt right now. You know, everybody wants a home, but that's not good debt. If you just got an emergency fund and a savings account, hey, I would say the next thing is, let's see how you can increase your income. Increase your income with a side hustle or a small business, doing something you enjoy doing, but make money at it. And once you get that going, then let's talk about a house or a car. Because right now, if you lose your job, then what? Right back at the beginning. Get that emergency fund set up, get that savings account, and then let's look at a side hustle to bring you in some more money.
And that side hustle can even turn into a business that you never
exactly. Or it's your backup in case your employer decides they don't want to pay you anymore.
And how many of us have been through something like that?
I have. I have. I'm speaking from experience.
Yes.
They lay you off. When I got laid off, I didn't have anything else laid up. What am I going to do? I think they gave me 2 weeks severance. Oh God, now I got to find another job within 2 weeks.
And
so I can pay.
Fast.
Yes. So I can pay my rent or whatever bills is coming up. But I didn't have anything to fill that gap if something happened. That's what an emergency fund is for. That if something around the house or your car happened, you got to go to the doctor, you got an emergency fund. A side hustle while you're working a job is another emergency fund if they let you go. Or maybe that side hustle will get big enough that you will let them go.
And that's the goal right there.
That's the
you
goal.
Work for yourself. I think it's powerful. You know something, Lovie, I've learned so much about you out of all of these years that we have known each other and we've been friends and of course business partners. I'm just kind of like, I didn't know that. And you have kicked it for me when it comes to, done an excellent job for some people who don't know what kicked it means. Done an excellent job as far as I am concerned in helping me to keep up with my taxes. And even the meetings that I've had with you when I was discouraged and frustrated, the things that you shared with me helped me to move forward in going through some challenges. It was similar to you and some completely different from you. But you know, one thing that we have in common that I want you to share with our listeners and our viewers so that they will know that it's real, that He is real. What was it that the Lord did for you? And I know we can tell from some of the things that you have said, but can you tell us some of the things that God did for you in the process of all of these changes, just in one lifetime?
In the process of these changes, I would say the Lord opened my eyes to see the gifting and his spirit that's within me. And it made me know I am great. God is great.
Yes.
And he lives inside of me. So we have to tap into that. Okay, and you know, I was shy and very quiet. I have people tell me now, girl, stop saying that. Because they don't see that part.
Not at all.
I tapped into the spiritual part of me and found out who I am in Christ. And that's where my joy comes from. My joy comes from that place. So even them times when I'm at a point I want to go in the room and just beat the pillars, I know tomorrow's a new day. I get to start over. It's a fresh new day. Everything that I did has been forgiven, and I can start over. That's where my joy comes from. I know.
What scriptures would you say? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What scriptures would you say stands out for you?
The scripture that I lean on is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I carry that one. That's on my board too. I can do it. And that has always been with me. And I have rehearsed it, but I didn't believe it. Because there were things that, why can't I do this? Why can't I find a good job? Why can't I do this? You know, I didn't believe it. But now I'm at the point that you can do all things with plan it out. So it's always on your mind. I'm speaking it, I'm seeing it, I'm hearing it. It's in my heart, and I see it come to pass. And I have to give that all to the joy. We say, the joy that you've given to me, the world can't take it away. And that's what I think people see when they say, you smile all the time. I am joyful.
You do.
I carry my joy with me.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And I have seen the difference, Lovie, and I'm glad to have a moment to even say it to you. I have seen a significant difference. And I never really thought too much about it because you've always been pretty low-keyed. And to see the spunky side of you has been like, you know, refreshing. I was like, oh. And then when I look on social media and I said, where is she now? Oh, she's traveling everywhere. And I see you posing with so many different people and I'm going, wow, Lovie. And God can make those changes for you.
Yes.
He has made those changes for you. Okay, if you could say
the desires of your heart.
Yes.
Just know what your desires are.
Absolutely.
And map it out so you know that you're there.
Absolutely.
You know, I had to know that I had changed that frown into a smile. And now I know what people see.
You know, there is no way in the world that anybody could watch this and not want to get in touch with you to help them to get back on track. I mean, because you have done, with the Holy Spirit, with the Almighty God, you have done extraordinary work. And it's been some years since you have been in business and it's still flourishing and you've got even more. The fact that you said you have hired somebody, that's a triple shocker for me because I was like, okay, Lovie's gonna be a Lone Ranger on her own. She's gonna do her own thing. And, you know, I don't need Tonto. If for some people who never watched Lone Ranger, you don't know what I'm talking about. So
I do know what Lone Ranger is.
I guess my age is showing that. Well, so can you tell me, can you give us at least 3 different things that we need to keep in mind as we move forward when we've dealt with challenges? 3 to 4 things that you would say, I did this, I know if you do it, it will work. Can you think of what those things are right now?
I think the first thing I would say the challenge is I identify where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, identify it. Because if the thought is never in your mind, it's not going to come to pass.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to think about where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time, and I don't know if I had this dream or if it actually happened, but I worked for this company, it's a Selmer company. It was an instrument company in Elkhart, Indiana. I hated that job. And I saw myself, now I've never been a drinker, I've never been in a bar, but I have a memory of myself sitting at a bar crying, saying, there's gotta be better to life than this. There's gotta be. And from that image, I decided I'm going to change things. Okay, what am I gonna change? I didn't know what I was gonna change, but the second thing I did is I started writing down what things I could try. I went back to school, I got my bachelor's degree. Thought that would do it. It didn't, but I saw growth. I went back and I got my master's degree. I saw growth, then I started to see that my situation started changing. You know, I had 2 kids at home, trying to raise them in school and doing that. So I had to map it out. I went to school at night when I put them to bed. You know, then I ran out to class till 10 o'clock and then come back and stay up studying till 12 at midnight. But I had a plan. I was trying to reach that. In 4 years, I'll be done. 4 years, I'll be done. After that, I tried sitting for the CPA and I was just sick of school. I never finished that one, but I changed the goal a little bit. So instead of doing my CPA, I ended up going for my master's degree. But you will critique your goals along the way, because getting the CPA just wasn't that important. And when I went to take it, I shook after that test. I just shook. And I was like, this is too stressful. I'm gonna find another way. I went back and got my master's degree, you know, in that play. So in that plan, when I looked and saw this step, it's not working for me, tweak it so that at least you get to that end goal that you want to be in. It might not be the traditional path, but you will see growth. And then just have a way to measure it. Awesome. That brings so much joy when you know you started something and can look back and see that long road behind you.
Yes.
That is such a joyful moment to say, I did it.
Absolutely.
I did.
I applaud you. I applaud you. And I applaud those who you have helped to get to where they are now, and those who you are going to be helping in the future. I don't know about anybody else, but everybody needs to know how to get in touch with you. So how can we get in touch with you?
Well, at the moment, my website is being, it's under discussion. It's being revamped. Give me a couple of weeks and that will be back up and live. But if you need to get in touch with me now, my Facebook page is Perfect Balance Tactician. If you go on Facebook and type that in, you'll come right to my page. You can DM me. I'm on Instagram. There you can DM me. And I promise you my website will be up, because I'm opening this new department of teaching people how to plan to build wealth and save on taxes. You know, I can do your tax return, but I can't help you plan for taxes on April 15th.
Let's make that clear. Let's put that in bold print, honey.
Make that clear. You can't plan when the year is over.
Right.
So I'm opening this department that's gonna, I'm gonna help my clients start planning how to save for taxes and how to defer taxes, and then how to grow wealth.
Awesome.
So that's why I'm having my website revamped, so that it will address the new department I'm starting.
Wonderful. So Facebook, Instagram, and what's your email address?
Oh, and my email address is Lovie at PerfectBalanceTaxtician with an S at the end .com.
Okay.
So you can email me, or you can DM me on Facebook or Instagram, and then shortly I'll post that when my website is ready. I would definitely let you know.
Awesome, wonderful. So how long have you been in business?
It's been about 21 years.
Whoa. Okay, we're gonna stop right there because I think people are adding up. Okay, so Crystal must be this age. So we're gonna stop right there. My God. And I just love the fact that you were consistent and persistent in the midst of building your business. And and everybody's gonna have to have some kind of setbacks from here and there. So I am so blessed that you were able to come on the show today. I really appreciate it, Lovie. I appreciate it so much. And I know that you're going to get a tremendous amount of response. And I know that you, my listeners, my viewers, make sure you like and subscribe. I should have said that in the beginning and forgot. But make sure you like and subscribe, because there are going to be a whole lot more shows like this coming in the future. And make sure you reach out to and check out Lovie Grant, honey, because she has just turned circles for me financially, where I'm not freaking out about taxes any longer. Anytime I run into something kind of wacky or strange, or even terminology I'm not familiar with when it comes to taxes and when it comes to a lot of different things, I can reach out to Lovie. I mean, she's a wonder to work with. Thank you again, Lovie, for being with me today. Do you have any final words that you'd like to say?
My final words, I guess I say, let's grow. Let's constantly grow. Make that your plan every year, even if it's a little minute thing. Let's grow together.
I absolutely love it. That means a tremendous amount. Thank you so much for joining me for Take Joy on Your Journey. If you'd like to learn more, please go to my website at cjoyministries.com, and you can reach me there. And keep in mind, always take joy on your journey. I promise you, the Lord will be with you every step of the way. And I'll see you next time. God bless.